everyone, this is Vic back again with another fragrance live review. And today I'm going to review a fragrance from the past century. And it's a kind of hidden mostly gem for everyone because this fragrance has been discontinued for decades. And since then, nobody obviously had a chance to buy it or to sniff it. So this fragrance is a fabulous fragrance. It's a Jean Patou Lacoste, the first fragrance of Lacoste made by the house of Jean Patou, Paris. The perfumer was none less than Jean Kerléo, the great master perfumer and the in-house perfumer for Jean Patou. It's an Oriental fougere fragrance. Let's break down the notes first. Top notes are basil, rosemary, coriander, lavender, petitgrain, lemon, and bergamot. Heart notes are carnation, patchouli, vetiver, clary sage, also cedarwood, jasmine, heliotrope, and cinnamon. Base notes are oakmoss, ambergris, musk, tonka bean, vanilla. Main accords are aromatic, woody, fresh and spicy, warm and spicy, also patchouli, herbal, earthy, and mossy accords. This fragrance has been released in 1967 by Lacoste, but it was made by Jean Patou. It's a fabulous Oriental fragrance. And also, I would add, has some soapy notes. And this fragrance is not the sport fragrance because there is also another version of that, which is a sport fragrance, which I will review it later. But today, I just wanted to review this one because this one deserved to be talked about it and deserved to be shown to everyone because this is a kind of fragrance that you are going to come across easily. Has been released in 1967. And a very good friend of this channel, and also he's a reviewer. He told me that, do you have it? I said, yeah, I have it, and I will review it. I'm talking about Jared, and he knows what I'm talking about. And this fragrance is not a sport fragrance. It's a first Lacoste fragrance, but it's very complex, very well-blended fragrance by master perfumer Jean Kerléo. This fragrance is Oriental. It's an Oriental fougere. And really, the notes are so well blended here that it's amazing. It's really amazing. Even after all those years, whenever I sniff this fragrance, I said, wow, wow. Those were the days. Because you compare it with today's perfumes are so simplistic and they are so monotonous, and they are using the same notes for almost all the fragrances. And no, here it's well composed and well balanced, and the materials, raw materials used in the fragrances of Jean Patou were always premium. They were always the best materials. They were always the best raw materials on the market. And let's not forget the Jean Patou fragrances were very expensive for their times and very rare. They were not sell everywhere. Only few dealers, they had a license to sell Jean Patou fragrances. Even in United States was very hard to find Jean Patou. I remember was very not easy to find, and was easy to find at Bloomingdale or maybe at Macy's, but not elsewhere. And these fragrances were really made with love. They were really made with passion. And it's funny because the House of Lacoste is a very sporty brand, and they asked the house of Jean Patou to make this fragrance for Lacoste. And it's a very complex, very well blended, and very multi notes fragrance. It's not very Lacoste targeted fragrance to me. It's more a real Jean Patou fragrance, and somehow it reminds me of Patou Rome, which was released later in 1980, which is another masterpiece from the House of Patou, and which I reviewed previously. But this one is less known because I think it was on production for, let's say, from 1967 up to 1980. Because after 1980, I couldn't find it anymore. And this is a kind of fragrance that it's very hard to find nowadays because the production was very limited over the years. And if you come across, or if by chance you find a bottle of this, then grab it, because it's a very highly demanded fragrance. But I'm not sure you are going to be a come across of this fragrance for very soon. Some people say this fragrance remind them of Eau Sauvage. Yeah, there is some similarities with the original Eau Sauvage by Christian Dior, the lemony one, the one who has that lemony, sherbety notes. And this is more spicier. This is more Oriental, and this is more woody than Eau Sauvage. So it's more complex, but yeah, has been inspired by Eau Sauvage. There is no doubt about it, because Eau Sauvage was released in 64, and this one was released in 67. So for sure, this fragrance has been inspired by Eau Sauvage by Christian Dior. And those are the fragrances of the past century. Now we can say that, because this fragrance was released in 1967. It's a great fragrance from the house of Jean Patou. And really, Jean Patou is one of those French luxury brands that really, their perfumes were absolutely fabulous and fantastic. They made so many great fragrances for women and for men. For men, they had less fragrances than for women, but each of them were a price turkey. Each of them were a groundbreaker. Each of them were a champion. So this is my point of view on fragrances from the house of Jean Patou. So what's lay ahead? The house of Patou has been bought by LVMH. So I really cross my finger that LVMH will again re-releases those great fragrances of the past. I don't know if they are going to do, or if they are capable to do that, but yeah, let's be hopeful. Let's be on the good mood. So that's my personal take on this gem from the past century, Lacoste by Jean Patou. And this fragrance, it's not a sporty fragrance. It's a Oriental fougere, an Oriental with woody, spicy, lemony, and herbal, mossy, and vanillic accords. And those accords are playing a big, major part in this fragrance. And the backbone of this fragrance is a real Oriental fragrance. So don't look for a sporty one. The sporty one, I will review it soon, because I also have the Jean Patou sport version for Lacoste. But today, I started with this one because this one really deserved to be highlighted, deserved to be introduced to you, and deserved for the old-time sake. You know, this is just the old-time sake to be talked about this fragrance. I don't know if other reviewers, they reviewed this, but I think I'm the only full version reviewer on this. And this is a great fragrance from the past century. Really, undoubtedly, you cannot find that type of fragrances nowadays because the brands, they don't make such a complex with so many notes all together, well mixed, well balanced, well chosen by a real master perfumer who was Jean Kerléo. So this is my take on Lacoste by Jean Patou. I wish you to have a pleasant weekend ahead. I'll be back soon. Stay tuned and stay safe and sound and take very good care of yourself. Until we meet again, cheerio!